Yeah. Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy King Lucky Money, man, and we back with another video. You feel me? Look at here, man. This right here, man. They say to level out, to level up, to progress, we gotta be more transparent. You feel me? So, in this episode, this is what we gonna do. As you can see the title of this episode, what it's called, I grew up in a trap house. Alright, so story time with King Lucky Money, man. Everything what I'm about to say is 100% true. You feel me? So this is what I'm gonna do, man. Cause a lot of people who grew up with me, a lot of people who know me, everybody who know me from my childhood, you know what I'm saying, who watched me grow up from Little Lucky to Big Lucky, to Grown Lucky, to Lucky as the father. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't know my story. You know what I mean? As far as people who I met over time, you know what I'm saying? People don't, you know, sometimes you have to give a clear path of where you come from. You know what I mean? So, okay, let's start here. Grew up single mother, you know what I mean? Older brother in the household. We had it rough, you know what I mean? We grew up first of all, my story starts in California. A lot of people don't know. Born in California, moved to Louisiana when I was around 10, 11, somewhere up in there. But anyway, we all live with my grandma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I come from that story where when you grow up in the household, all your cousins there. My auntie lived there and all her kids. My mom and all her kids. My mom, both me and my brother. And then my uncles were in and out of prison. So, but when they came home from prison, they was there. You know what I mean? So we had a house full. You know what I mean? We had a house full, and that was normal. You know what I mean? That was a normal thing. So, and this is early 90s. You know what I mean? This is early 90s. So it was normal. You know what I mean? It was normal. Like I said, cause this is what I was accustomed to. So it was normal to come at home and your cousins or your friends. You know what I mean? So you come home from school, you come right home, and we playing again. So yeah, that was normal. You know what I'm saying? You come home, like I said, and house full of people. Of course, we had ups and downs just like everybody else. You know what I mean? This is early on. Like I said, living with my grandma. Like I say, back then, I can't say what the finances were going or what they were not going. I just knew at some point, you know, utilities was getting cut off. Excuse me. Utilities were getting cut off. I remember a few times water got cut off. You know what I mean? To this in the space where we had to go to the neighbor's house and, you know, fill up buckets of water so we can have either something to drink or take a bath in, or just do the daily stuff, wash dishes, wash your face, brush your teeth. We had to literally, all of us, I remember all of us going to the neighbor's house and filling up buckets and bringing it home. And we all took baths and, like I say, washed our face like that, man. I remember those times. And also, our electric being cut off. I remember running extension cords from our home to the neighbor's home. I don't even know how they worked. I don't know if we plugged up to that generator or leave it in the comments if you understand. Like I said, I was young, so I don't even know what did we plug this extension cord up from to. And I remember we had I think we had like multiple extension cords, and we would plug up lamps and lights and stuff, watch TV. You know what I'm saying? I remember going through these times, man. So so you have to think like even in that space that was like somewhat normal. It became like a normal thing. It wasn't a thing to where I was like, oh crap, the lights are off. Oh crap, we're being evicted again. Or like I said, I was so young. I just thought that was like really wasn't even a thought to it. You know what I mean? It wasn't even a thought process to it. So I don't even know if a lot of my peers and classmates even knew what I was going through or went through, or I didn't even know they might was going through the same thing I was going through. I have no idea that. You know what I'm saying? That's just something you never spoke about. You know what I mean? It's like, so okay, fast forward. So I'm guessing once we all moved from my grandmother, and she got her own place. My Aunt Bonnie got her own place. My mom got her own place. I guess that's when my mom started, because my mom was always in the streets. You know what I mean? My family was always, let's just say that my family was always well known in the community in which we grew up in. They're all very popular. You know what I mean? So I guess my mom and my auntie and my uncles, I guess they got to a space where like, you know what, hey, we ain't going through this no more. Like we ain't struggling no more. So at some point, you know, of course the crack era was in, you know what I mean? And some kind of way, man, you know, my mom got a hold to a pack, you know what I mean? So, you know, RP to my mom. Don't know my mom, she passed away 3 years ago. But and the story that I'm talking to y'all about now, like me and my mom, we had these conversations, you know what I'm saying? I've talked to her about these things, you know what I'm saying, over time. You know what I mean? So at some point, you know, she got a pack. And like I said, she was already well known in the streets by her peers, and she started hustling, man, you know. So we moved into this home, like the house you see in the background of this video, that's the house I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? We moved into that home when I was like 6th grade, which my brother owns the home now. Like I said, my mom passed away 3 years ago, and she lived in that house all the way up until 3 years ago. So, and my brother owns the house now. He's renting it out now. So that was a great thing. But anyway, at some point, my mom got a pack, man, and she started hustling. You know what I mean? I watched like the household change. I watched the household change. Like I literally saw it went from my mom, like I remember like her just trying to put it together, you know. So once we moved into that home, I remember watching her like just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And 'cause my mom never had a job. My mom never had I never seen my mom work a job. You know what I'm saying? Ever. You know what I mean? I remember us being on housing. If you ever been on housing, that's a process, you know what I'm saying, where you pay less money for a home. You know what I'm saying? You be on the housing program, and my mom had already programmed me and my brother what to say. So every time we would go down there and like renew the lease or whatever it was, I already knew what to say. You know what I'm saying? So because of course they ask everybody questions and who live in the home. You know what I mean? So my mom had already equipped me to what to say, me and my brother. But even then, like I say, I never saw my mom work a job. So at some point she started dipping and dabbing and, you know, selling you know, narcotics. And I started watching things change. I started watching my mom started carrying handguns. I started seeing different people started coming to the home. And all these things just started happening gradually. You know what I mean? They started happening gradually. So, now mind you, everything still wasn't peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Oh yeah, because you're selling, your mom was just doing this and doing that. That don't mean like all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, we just got all this money, this that, and third. No, because you have to think a lot of people was hustling back then. But you know, when you in that world, like I say, things change. So let's just say, like I said, I moved at home when we was 6th grade. So 7th grade, 8th grade, like my 6th grade, 7th grade year, that's how I knew it was to change, because even my behavior began to change. It was like I started getting less attention. I started, let's say, I began to kind of act out in school, not doing my work, stuff like that. I failed 6th grade. So mind you, we moved to the home 6th grade. I failed 6th grade year because, like I say, I was going through things internally, but I didn't even know how to express them. So what I would do is, even when I would go around my friends, like that's when I learned how to mask my feelings. I learned how to not show my emotions. You know what I mean? So that's what my sense of humor came from, because I learned how to mask it. So you didn't even know what I was feeling. You didn't even know what I was going through. And of course, teachers didn't even know what was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't even know what was going on with me. I just knew that it was a change in my household, but I couldn't diagnose it. Of course, I'm young at the time. But anyway, like I said, I failed my 6th grade year. And that bothered me. You know what I mean? That really bothered me. So I made a pact to myself that I would never fail again. Because I didn't like the feeling that my classmates went on and I didn't. So, and I'm on, like I say, looking back now, I'm already knowing all this is equating to my upbringing, right? So, let's fast forward to 8th grade. That's when my father returned into my lifestyle. And of course, him and my mom didn't get back together like that. He had just moved from California. He came to one of my games and he showed up and he was like, "Hey, that was from my knowledge, that was like maybe the first or second time I seen him physically." Yeah, I mean, I had talked to him on the phone. Of course, I remember, like, I was younger when I saw him. I was so that I couldn't really remember the first time I seen him up until this point. Me seeing him at my 8th grade year, and he's been in my life ever since. You know, so my father's my hero. Shout out to my father. And taught me a lot of game. Taught me to be the smart man who I am today. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I watched my behavior change from my 6th grade year up to my 7th grade year, 8th grade year. I started hanging out in the streets, just like everybody else. You hear everybody tell these stories. You know what I'm saying? I was in the streets. Yes, I was in the streets, but I wasn't in the streets. I wasn't in the streets selling drugs or robbing people. No, I was in the streets. Like, I was that kid to where I was always the littlest guy on the set. Let's say that. Because everybody knew, like I said, everybody already knew me. Everybody knew my mom. Everybody knew my family. Everybody, like I said, my family is popular, so everybody knew me. So everywhere I went, it was like I was protected. You know what I mean? Because they would try to run me off the block. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that's watching this video from my hometown, they can vouch and say this is 100% true story. I remember being on the set. They used to have the house parties around there. Robert Lane, shout out to Robert Lane. They used to have the house parties around there. And I used to be the littlest kid around. I'm like 7th grade, man, 8th grade, and I'm at the high school party. You know what I'm saying? I can hear the high school, "Hey, look, take your ass home. Go home, boy." You know what I'm saying? Go home. I be like, "Shut up." You know what I'm saying? I'm on the bicycle. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part of the streets that I was in, because I was everywhere. You know what I mean? Everybody knew I used to be all over the neighborhood, everywhere from the top to the bottom, to this side to that side. Everybody knew Lil Lucky coming up. So I got into a lot of fights. I And I also was excelling in sports at the same time. So what I mean by my household was changing is because, like I say, I was being neglected because I wasn't spending a lot of time with my mama. As far as like the mother-son bond, let's say that. Then my older brother, we 5 years apart, so we're not hanging out. He's doing his own thing. So I started figuring out, I had to like figure stuff out on my own. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying in no way, form, or fashion that my mother didn't love me or my brother didn't love me. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you from my point of view on how my steps was in growing to be a young man. So okay, so when I was saying everything started to change, I'm watching my mom, because not only did my mom sell drugs, my mom also used drugs. You know what I mean? So, but she wasn't an addict. Let's say that my mom wasn't an addict. She didn't walk the streets or put us at risk or put her life at. She wasn't that kind of drug. She was just a drug user. She wasn't an addict or nothing like that. So what happened was, over time, like I said, I began to grow. I started to see things. I started to understand things. Because even when my mom sold drugs, she always had respect for me. She always had respect for me and my brother. You know what I mean? So what I mean by respect is like, so when I come home from school, or if I came home from a basketball game or a football game I had at school, I would knock on the door and I would hear my mom say, "Stand down. My son is coming in. My son is on his way in the house." So another way what she was doing was all the people that she had in the house, they ended up using crack, smoking dope. She would tell them to don't move until my son, like, don't do this in front of my son. That type of thing. So I would hear her say, "Hold on, Lucky," and I would, come inside and I can, it's a cloud of smoke in here. You know what I mean? I had to cover my face up, just to get to my room and close the door. So from that space, it was always like money in the house, but it wasn't money in the house, because you have to think about this. Even though my mom was selling drugs, she would cook the drugs for the D boys in the neighborhood as well. So it was like, yeah, she would have money and she would score and she would do this, but we didn't have like fancy cars and nice big house. Like, you can see the house we lived in right here. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that was to the point where I don't know if she wanted to ball like that or live lavish like that. I don't know. I never had that conversation with my mom. But the thing about it is like, me seeing that, also, that's what made me stay away from drugs. See, it's great things that came out of it for me personally. See, I never used drugs. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. I didn't try alcohol until I was 20, 21. Another thing in my household, see, while my mom was selling drugs and stuff, I couldn't bring my friends over. That's another thing. I couldn't have my homeboys over. I couldn't have like sleepovers or because I couldn't. My mom wouldn't even allow that because she didn't want that. She didn't want. Of course, you already know she don't want that type of traffic at our home. You know what I mean? So we just couldn't have that. So I remember a lot of times people would be like, "Yo, man, I want to come over your house." I used to have to make up. You know what I'm saying? Why I couldn't have company. Even after all this turmoil and chaos was going on in the house, like I say, my mom still had respect. She still would take the time out to, show me something. My mom gave tough love. Let's say that. Through the price that, what I'm saying, my mom sold drugs. See, my mom never got the opportunity to watch me play any sports. She never attended any of my games from middle school all the way up through high school. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of summer games. That's a lot of spring games, practice games, real games, track events. She just was unable to attend them. Like, she knew about them because I would come home and bring home the trophies. I would give her the trophies, or some of her friends would tell her about me, or she'll see me on the news, or you know what I'm saying, read about me in the newspaper. But and like I say, that's what taught me how to, like I say, mask my emotions. Because at some point I stopped looking for her. You know what I mean? And there was no hard feelings toward her because I just understood the lifestyle that we was in at a young age. I just understood. I didn't have this conversation with nobody. Nobody sat down with me and said, hey, this is what it is. I had to figure these things out on my own. You know what I mean? So, like I say, so my mom sold drugs, but she also used drugs as well. So, I got to a space where, so listen, everything that I'm talking to you guys about, I had this conversation to my mom when she was alive. So she knows how I feel. She knows this whole story already. So it's like, I'm not down at my mom and like that. That ain't what this is. I'm just giving you the facts. So it's like, let's say this. So growing up, like, now mind you, around, I think, like my 11th, 12th grade year, that's when my brother started selling drugs. She started teaching my brother the game. So he started buying his own pack. He started getting his own customers, and my brother took it to another level. He started opening up businesses, and he had all the flyest cars, and out of all these things that were going on, so it's like, so now I started really feeling neglected because I'm watching my mom and my brother. They like getting money. They got a bond that I don't have. The only bond that I have is with my teammates. The only bond that I have is with the guys I'm running the streets with. I don't have a bond at this point with my mom and my brother because they had their own bond selling dope. So, like I say, looking back, neither one of them said, hey, take this dope and go sell it. My big brother never said, man, take this pack, go sell it. Never. And I respect them. I respect them both for that to this day. Because, like I said, you have to understand, the mindset I'm telling you how I was thinking at the time, not understanding that they was protecting me the whole time. You know what I mean? So it's like, about another year or two go by. Now mind you, at this point, me and my mom's relationship is not good because I'm like I say, I'm 19, 20. I'm a grown man, so it's really time for me to get out. So we're not really seeing eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm barely home every time. I may be gone 3 or 4 days. I'm just couch surfing. I'm spending night over here at my cousin's house, spending night over his cousin's house. I'm just doing anything not to go back home. Like when I would come home, like I would find like somebody would knock on the door for some work. I would go and hit her stash up and serve it myself, and I just keep the money. You know what I mean? I did that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Even she knew. She just never said nothing about it. I mean, we talked about, like I say, everything I'm telling y'all is 100% true. I told her I used to do that. I used to hit her stash up. Somebody come knocking the door for something, but 10 or 20 or 50, whatever it is. I knew what they looked like. I knew what the work was. I knew how it was cut up. I knew what to do. So, but like I said, that was just normal. You know what I'm saying? That had just became normal, just normal life. So, and even in this whole thing, I learned, like I say, I learned to the point to where I knew which one of my classmates' family members or parents were using drugs because they would come by for my mama. So I knew their parents, but guess what? I never came to school and teased them about that. I never told nobody that, oh yeah, I saw such and such mama at my house smoking dope. Or her dad came over here and bought a 10-piece from me. I never told nobody nothing because I already knew what the storm was about. I already knew their lifestyle because I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? This is nothing, ain't nothing funny about that. You know what I mean? There's nothing cool about that. So, like I say, man, my mom's relationship had began to deteriorate. As far as the bond, the love was always be the love was always there, just as far as the bond that we had, the love bond that we had. So, like around late 90s, that's when my mom and my brother was arrested by federal agents. The feds kicked in our door and took my mother and my brother to prison. They didn't take me because I was too young, and plus I wasn't. I guess they had been doing an investigation, and they knew I didn't. I'm just a kid in the house. But yeah, I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was a whole bunch of people at my mom's house, and federal agents kicked the door in, turned the house inside out. They found dope, guns, drugs, money, the whole nine. They had us pinned down in the house for hours and hours, and when I tell you, the whole neighborhood had came to the street and the police cars everywhere. And like I said, they took my mom and my brother to prison. My brother did 5 years, and I think my mom did 3. And I had to stay with my grandmother. I stayed with my grandmother off and on because I still lived in the house. So basically, it was like I was at the house really alone. So I would go home, go stay with my grandmother, come home, or she would bring me food, this, that, and third. So I was kind of back and forth. But I made a pact to my mom though. I was like, I'm not gonna fail you as your son, even though you're in the situation that you're in. And even when my brother was in the pen, I never wanted to make him upset or him hearing news about me doing something bad in the streets. I just didn't want that to happen, and I didn't. So I made a promise to myself, and I went to school every day. You know what I mean? So what I did was, and that's how I excelled in sports, because I used that emotion to compete. You know what I mean? All that pain I had held up inside of me before I played games or before I ran a track meet, I would just cry. You know what I mean? Football was literally my outlet. Sports was literally and physically my outlet to deal with the pain that I was dealing with. You know what I mean? Like I said, I had no counseling for this. I didn't talk to nobody about this. So even when my dad came around, so he already knew what I was going through. So me and him would converse about it. You know what I mean? Because his lifestyle was parallel. So he already understood what I was going through. He already understood. So my dad would just be straightforward. Say, hey, look, this da-da-da-da. But playing sports, that was my outlet. You know what I'm saying? To just deal with everything I was going through. You know what I mean? So when my mom got out of prison and my brother got out of prison, of course my brother he didn't hustle no more, but my mama, she went right back to it. You know what I mean? She went right back to it. You know what I'm saying? My mama hustled all the way up until her demise. You know what I'm saying? My mama always hustled. You know what I mean? So R.I.P. Lil Cal, man. R.I.P. Lil Cal. But yeah, man. That's my story, man. I grew up in the trap house, man. Yes, I grew up in the trap house, and there's nothing to glorify about that at all. Like I said, this is just my truth. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, if you out there, if you're watching this video, check on your kids, talk to them. You know what I mean? Just every now and then, just put them to the side and say, hey, man, what's going on? What you thinking about? You know what I mean? Because you never know. They may have stuff, things bottled up. You know what I mean? You don't know. You don't know. You just don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the more of the story. Check on your kids. And just make the right decision. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's another video from your boy King Lucky Money. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the post notification bell as well. That way you can check on all my videos I post, man. All my videos are 100% the truth, baby. You feel me? Until then, man, y'all stay cool, man. Be safe. I'll tap in another time, man. Yeah!